What's up, everybody? This is Coach Rockwell. I am the coach of the Guyana Goodras in the Losswood Draft League. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about a very important match I have uh, tomorrow against the Sassy Sylveons. This is a do or die match, meaning that if I lose, I'm almost certainly out of the playoffs. So I thought I would give Prep a little bit of extra love this week and share with you guys sort of generally how I prepare for a match with the caveat that I really only started um, preparing for matches a little late in the season. Unfortunately, we didn't lock in as early as we should have at the Guyana Gudras, but now we're locked in and we are trying to get into the playoffs. So yeah, excited to talk about this matchup, how I plan to tackle it, what I'm worried about, etc. So the thing we're going to start with is the roster. So this is the roster of the Guyana Gudras. This is my team. And there have been a lot of changes that have happened over these last 7 weeks or 6 weeks. But I just wanted to quickly talk about two of the new additions to this team, and that's Vileplume and Greninja. So we've actually replaced Lilligant and Orthworm for Vileplume and Greninja. I can go into details about why I made this decision, but essentially, I thought that Vileplume could take the place of Lilligant as a chlorophyll after you Pokemon, and I liked its typing and move pool a little bit better than Lilligant's. I thought it just fit a little bit better into the team. And Greninja is something that I picked up because I wanted something super fast that hit on the special side. I wanted to add another water type to the team, and I like the flexibility of Greninja with its ability to change its type with that protein ability. So these are the new additions to the roster. Other than that, we have the staples. We've got that Baxcalibur, the Mienshao that we picked up and used. Just this past week, Torkoal, which has been here from day one, Crocodile, Electivire, Yen, Mega, Sableye, and Delphox. So I want to go over a couple of strategies that I think um, will be really strong against the Sylveons. Um, and the first one to talk about is the classic after you eruption combination. This combination is so powerful, it lets Torkoal essentially use its eruption immediately. Normally, a very slow Pokemon that requires Trick Room in order to move before opponents. But the synergy between Drought and Chlorophyll. Allows it to move very quickly. So that is might be a duo that I'm thinking of playing around this week. The next combination, this is a combination that I've brought a couple weeks now. That is Baxcalibur and Electivire. Really like Electivire because it has Follow Me. It also is no slouch when it comes to attacking. It's got a pretty nice attack stat, so it can pick up some KOs with super effective Thunder Punches. It's also got access to Volt Switch, Taunt, Feint, a lot of supporting options as well. Electroweb for speed control. So I really, really like Electivire, especially when paired next to Baxcalibur. It is able to protect Baxcalibur with its Follow Me, and with that Vital Spirit, don't have to worry about things like Yawn, Sleep Powder, Hypnosis. And if they do not have um, a um, a Pokemon that has sleep, then the motor drive ability essentially disallows any single target electric moves from being clicked when Electivire is on the field. Um, The next combination I'm really excited about is the potential of uh another follow me combination, this time follow me and the burst damage that Mian Shao can dish out. So in Regulation G, I played Mian Shao quite a bit, and so it's a Pokemon that I'm very comfortable with. So I was very, very happy to bring it to the roster. This is a Pokemon where I'm super familiar with all the damage calcs. I mean, this is a Pokemon where several lines in Reg G require Mian Chao to pick up literally three KOs with close combat, Terra fighting especially. So um, there's a strong chance that I might bring that out this week against Alec. And then finally, we also have another burst damage combination, which is the Helping Hand plus burst damage from Mian Shao. So what I really like about this is that it's a lead where both Pokemon cannot be faked out, and I'm a little bit worried about Rillaboom on the Sassy Sylveon. So yeah, it's a really strong combination. You can move immediately, make it a 3v4 or 3v3 if you're trading the Mian Chao for the Mon that you are trying to burst down in one hit. And yeah, I like it. It's very surprising, puts the opponent on the back foot. Um, so a couple of other strategies that are kind of obvious, but I'm gonna probably not engage with this week. I'll just talk a little bit about them. So the first one is Intimidate. So I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to bring Crocodile. When I was playing around in the builder yesterday, Crocodile seemed pretty strong because of its typing into the sassy Sylveons. Obviously, ground damage is very good into Klefki and Tyranitar, and it also has knockoff, which has the potential to one-shot for Farigiraf. So I like that combination. And Intimidate is really strong because Alec has almost all physical attackers outside of Lampent and Farigiraf and um, Klefki, it's basically all physical attackers. However, there's kind of a lot of intimidate hate. We'll talk about that in a bit, but I just don't think I want to engage with Defiant or Mirror Armor or any of the clear amulet. Like there's a strong chance I bring intimidate and get absolutely no value if and maybe even negative value. So I'm probably not going to bring intimidate if I bring crocodile. The other thing that I do not really want to rely on is fake out or really any kind of priority based strategies, just because of the Farigiraf on the Sylveons makes things like fake out pretty unreliable, sucker punches, etc. So I'm going to try and avoid priority as much as possible. I love the priority based strats that Sableye can enable, the priority taunts, the priority leers, the priority skill swaps, and things of that nature. However, I don't want to invalidate too many move slots. So I'm gonna try to not put fake out on any of these slots. And then the last strategy I just don't want to really engage with is the hypnosis stuff. I've brought gravity hypnosis a couple times, but I actually have never clicked hypnosis once. Um, People tend to be prepared for it. I believe Klefki gets Misty Terrain. There's going to be the occasional Lumberry, and I don't want to waste momentum clicking hypnosis and just not getting any value. The other thing about the gravity hypnosis strategy is that it typically requires you to lead something like Fably and Delphox or Fably and Yanmega. And sure, you could potentially hit gravity and put something to sleep right away. Um, However, um, you're still left with Sableye and Yanmega on the field against Tyranitar. So not too reliable. So yeah, so now let's talk about the sassy Sylveons. This team is so strong. I am so scared to play against this team. It's so good. Um, yeah, like there's it's just a very, very strong team with a lot of tools. I mean, you have the Tyranitar, which is, it's a beast. It's so bulky. It does so much damage. Um, it has a lot of coverage as well. It's got, knockoff, rock slide, earthquake, terra flying, terra blast. Like it's a very, very good terra blast user because, you know, um, people always want to hit it with fighting moves. And first of all, Tyranitar is so bulky, there's a chance that it just survives straight up. And usually it's going to be Terra Fairy or Terra Flying or something that resists Terra Ghost, something that really resists the fighting. And so it's such a bulky mon. The sand also gets rid of any focus sashes and makes it even bulkier on the special side. So if you have Sand Veil and Assault Vest, basically you're doing negative damage with any special attacks. Um, Rillaboom, something that I'm a little worried about just because it's got the two priority moves in the grassy glide and the fake out. And if I'm trying to use an after you eruption strategy, then Rillaboom can get a significant amount of chip off immediately with grassy glide. And so, God forbid it terrifiers grassy glides, chips me down to the point where now eruption, barely does damage to something like Farigiraf. And, Farigiraf is something that's so bulky that a little bit of chip probably lets it survive an eruption. The Farigiraf gets trick room off because it doesn't matter anymore that Torkoal uh, is on the field because you have a Terrafire Rillaboom and a bulky Farigiraf, and then they can work together and knock out the Torkoal, and then that's it. They're in trick room, and so that's already a pretty scary core. The Malamar, I'm not too worried about the Malamar, especially because I'm not bringing any intimidate strats. It could go for a bulk up set or something like that, just like Corviknight. It could go for a superpower set, but I'm not too worried about it. The Passimian is something that's a mon that the Sylveons just traded out for the Chestnut. Um, Ironically, I was actually very worried about the potential from wide guard in Chestnut. However, that's very risky because I have Baxcalibur and Chestnut hates Baxcalibur. Um, so yeah, so the Defiant is pretty strong. Clefable is another Pokemon that I'm just so worried about. It's so bulky. It's got Unaware, so if I try to set up Swords Dance, it's not going to be relevant against Unaware. All of its abilities are actually pretty good. Um, Life Orb plus I forgot the name of that ability, Magic Guard, I think it's called, where it basically doesn't take damage from sand or Life Orb or anything that's not direct damage is pretty good. And so um, you can get a lot of value out of building bulky, uh, fainting that you have unaware and just going for damage. Um, so I'm actually very, very scared of the Clefable. Don't know if it's going to be offensive Moonblast against Baxcalibur and Manchow. Don't know if it's going to be full bulk. Corviknight is another mon I'm super scared of. Also bulky. I'm just really scared of like everything. Screens from Klefki. Gastrodon is, Gastrodon basically makes me feel like I have to bring Electivire. I know it's counterintuitive because of the typing, but I don't want to get yawn cycled, and so having that insurance is pretty good. And then Lampent, which yeah, can't sleep on Lampent. I saw what it did against Muhammad in that set. It does damage. It's actually pretty bulky. Like I feel like I'm going to have to make sure that make sure that I have a way to like reliably two hit KO it because if I'm depending on, let's say, Torkoal, Baxcalibur, and Mienshao to do the most damage, well, Flash Fire doesn't get hit by fire moves. Ghost type doesn't get hit by fighting moves, and resist Icicle Spear. And I hate Skill Shot because it can miss. So Lampent unironically could wall my entire offense, and that's pretty scary. And it can take advantage of the sun and do a lot of damage with fire move in return. So um, yeah, I don't know if I expect it to come to the match, but it's something that I don't want to ignore. So um, I'll probably have a move or two that tailor my coverage a little bit to just in case it comes. Um, Okay, so the sassy Sylveons. There are quite a few concepts that I'm worried about, but I think I can summarize it sort of in three slides here. So the first thing is speed. How are the speed interactions going to work here? So the sassy Sylveons are a relatively slow team, which means that usually they want to play in Trick Room. If they get Trick Room up, the one saving grace I have is I have Torkoal. You can actually see here. So I didn't mention this, but I think it's pretty obvious. The number above the heads of all these Pokemon are the base speeds. So Torkoal is slower than any Pokemon in this team. And actually, Vileplume, if we go back, Vileplume is actually quite slow as well. Sableye is actually quite slow as well. And the reason this is important is because these are, Vileplume can actually after you in Trick Room to allow a fast Pokemon to move first, especially if Sand is up, which is an interaction that I think is unique to Vileplume that Lilligant cannot do this. So, if you're smart with the way you EV train your Vileplume, you can actually set it up so that in the sun, you outspeed all the threats you need to outspeed, but out of the sun, you underspeed all the threats that you need to outspeed. So your after you can work either way. And you can make this even way stronger if you have something like room service, which is an item that I'm strongly considering putting on Vileplume. So, with the room service, I can get I forget exactly how slow I can get. I should know that, but I don't know if I can get slower than min speed Gastrodon, but you can get slower than everything else with the room service. And so you really are in a position where you can, the sand is actually gonna be detrimental for that case. So that's something that I'm actually Vileplume, other than being tankier than Lilligant, other than having the poison type, which synergizes really well with weaknesses from Caliber and Crocodile. It also has it's very important that it's slow. It allows me to have another way to operate in Trick Room without relying on Imprison Trick Room, without relying on Quash from Sableye, without having to bring my Torkoal. So that's an interaction that I want to take into consideration when I'm EVing my Vileplume in order to be able to dynamically adjust to uh, uh, whatever the board is in terms of speed. So yeah, so Trick Room is something that I think I can handle. I think I actually have a big advantage in this matchup just because I have the slowest Pokemon, which is going to disincentivize the Sylveons from wanting to set up Trick Room. That being said, I still want to, if I see the Farigiraf, it's on site. I absolutely cannot allow this Farigiraf to to set up Trick Room, to even pressure setting up Trick Room. I want the I want to have the ball in my court in terms of speed advantage, and so and yeah, again, I think I'm a little bit favored having Torkoal. So let's say I try to burst down Farigiraf. If it works, that's great. If it doesn't work, you can sort of maneuver around and take advantage of the fact that most of my Pokemon will be naturally faster, and then if it sets up Trick Room, then I can bring out Torkoal in the back. The thing that I am not actually so clear cut on is what if the Sylveons switch it up and go for Tailwind? That is something that I don't think I have a straight answer to. That is something that is going to require me to really adapt on the fly and play Pokemon on the spot. Just because it's not clear to me if there's a guaranteed way to prevent Tailwind from going up if Alec wants Tailwind to go up. So he can lead something like Fake Out in Tailwind or something like Follow Me in Tailwind. So Follow Me in Tailwind is actually pretty reliable because if the Corviknight is bulky enough to take an eruption after it Terras, and let's say, I think Clefable can just straight up be trained to survive eruption without tearing because that mon is so bulky. Um, it's just such a bulky mon. But it could even run something like a Focus Sash to be cute. The Corviknight Terras, Follow Me. I've helped after you eruption or whatever, and the Corviknight lives comfortably. Tailwind goes up. Clefable, let's say, survives because of a sash or because it's bulky. Now there's three turns of Tailwind up. Um, Now the whatever, like there's so many things that can happen, right? Like uh Meteor Beam, Power Herb from Clefable, one-shotting my Torkoal, Brave Bird, one-shotting my Vileplume, and then I bring out Mons in the back. That suddenly the only advantage they had was being faster. Now they're actually slower because of the tailwind. Plus, Alex Mons are all super bulky. I'll just get rolled over in a line like that. And so I have to be very careful to not get caught off guard from a potential tailwind. And when we talk about some of the choices I made, or I guess I haven't locked in my OTS quite yet, but I'm pretty sure this is what I'm going to bring. Um, I really want to make sure that um, if uh, if Alec leads something like Corviknight, Clefable, in order to get up that tailwind, that I have ways to stall out the tailwind. Like if I see Clefable and Corviknight in the team sheet, I just I can't lead something one dimensional. I have to actually it's going to be like an 8-9 turn game where I'm positioning around the fact that tailwind can go up. And I guess the one thing that I'm thinking is, okay, like I could just bring Yan Mega, have it as part of my six and match the tailwind, but I really do not want to bring Yan Mega against uh a Fake Out from Rillaboom, a Brave Bird from Corviknight, a Rock Slide from Tyranitar. I mean, Flamethrower might even just kill it. I think Flamethrower just kills it from Lampent. Um, so many ways to just like kill this Pokemon. It doesn't do enough damage immediately, and um, uh, so yeah, I don't want to bring. I don't think I want to bring on Mega unless I'll probably go into the builder a little bit after this and, just double check, make sure that there's nothing I'm missing. But assuming I'm not going to match Tailwinds and bring the six that I think I'm going to bring, it's something to consider. Um, so yeah, the Sylveons have quite dynamic speed control, and fake out and ways to block fake out. And so so yeah, that brings to the next category of things that I'm worried about. So all the disruption. So these are basically ways that Alec can sort of support not only immediate damage from something like Tyranitar, but also support setting up the board state for future turns. You know, whether that be, positioning, swapping out Pokemon, changing my weather with a swap. Um, Follow me Tailwind, fake out Tailwind, follow me Trick Room, fake out Trick Room, screens plus Trick Room right away. These are all things that I'm a little bit wary of, and just uh uh you can't lose to something like this and be surprised. You can lose to something like this and say that uh the Sylveons were the better coach. And that's really my goal. Is to not be surprised and be well prepared, especially because this is a losing out, I should say. It's not a winning in, it's a losing out. Um, and then the last concept that I'm a little bit wary of, and probably one of the reasons why I'm just not going to bring Intimidate on Crocodile, is there's so much hate for stat drops. Um, you know, Alec has mostly physical attackers, but honestly, so do I. The Baxcalibur, the Electivire, the Mienshao, even the Sableye, like those are all physical mons. And so like I can intimidate and just reflect that intimidate back on me. I can't really leer. Defiant would be pretty bad as well, from the Pissimian. Um, and then the contrary, also from Malamar. There's so much hate um, for physical damage. If I want to reduce physical damage, the way to do it is going to be with screens and not with intimidate. Um, but I also have to be worried about like other kinds of stat drops. So, for example, one of the ways that one of the lines that I was thinking of in order to counteract the possibility of a mirror armor, or sorry, a tailwind from Corviknight is Electroweb on Electivire, right? And so I do not mind, if I can set up an electro web, get a speed drop, even though the mirror armor will reflect that speed drop, if I set it up so that the Pokemon that are coming in to the back can outspeed Corviknight's partner, that could be a potential way to sort of, get some speed control on Corviknight's partner, for a mon on the back. But it's so unreliable. I mean, Electro Web can miss, goddammit, and like, what am I gonna like? Any switch is gonna punish that. And Electro Web, it's just, and I would probably need two Electro Webs anyway. So yeah, I'm probably not gonna rely too much on stat dropping strategies, whether it be for damage mitigation or speed control. Okay, and so before I get into some of the damage calculations, because I really want to go over some key damage calcs that sort of influence me on picking my team. I want to go over a couple of speed interactions that I want to sort of get really down pat. The first one is I want to make sure that so I know I talked earlier about having the Vileplume be like slower in some cases and then faster in other cases, with the potential of maybe a room service. Um, but I think I really want the Vileplume to be faster than the Tyranitar, even outside of chlorophyll. I think that's going to be pretty important, just in case I get into a board where, um, let's say the Tyranitar switches in on my Sun Torkoal, I protect or whatever, and now like it's Tyranitar and Vileplume uh in the sand. Maybe I still want to be able to get an after you eruption right away, or an after you overheat, after you earth power, something along those lines, right away, rather than switching out the Torkoal for Sun, or setting up a Sun manually for Vileplume. So So yeah, I really want the Vileplume to actually be faster than Tyranitar. The other thing is I want to make sure that my Sableye is there's actually two Pokemon. I didn't add this here. There's two Pokemon that I want Sableye to be faster than. So Sableye is base 50 speed. I would like Sableye to be faster than both Klefki and Lampent. I didn't add Lampent here, but I do want it to be faster than Klefki and Lampent. Something that I think is going to be important is you know, there's a right now, as it stands, just as a spoiler, I am running. I think I'm gonna stick with running Choice Band on Mienshao. And so let's say I get into a scenario where, Mienshao close combat to get to the KO it needs. I'm helping hand close combat, helping hand knockoff or whatever, kill what I need to kill. Um, Suddenly Lampent comes out. like like over indexing on Lampent. He's probably not gonna bring this Pokemon, but it's better to be prepared than not prepared. I want Sableye to be faster than Lampent just so we can kill it with two knockoffs. Um, so that's why I want it to be faster than even Lampent, and then one step further, being faster than Klefki. So just in the odd chance that he doesn't have Farigiraf alive or positioned next to Klefki at the right time, I can, or he doesn't bring it, which I mean that's ridiculous. Like that's ridiculous. He's gonna bring Farigiraf. It's such a good Pokemon. Um, but I want to be able to taunt the Klefki before it, gets off a screen or a misty terrain or I don't know, whatever else Klefki does. So I just want to have that little speed advantage over the Klefki. And then finally, I want my Torkoal to be faster than Gastrodon. At least I maybe not min speed Gastrodon, but no. It has to at least outspeed min speed Gastrodon, at least. And I'm debating making it faster than a not min speed Gastrodon, but a let's say he runs bold. Um, Torkoal can actually have enough speed investment to outspeed like a bold 31 IV, but zero um, speed Gastrodon. I think it's going to be important for Torkoal to be faster than what I presume to be Alex's slowest Pokemon. Um, just because, um, I really don't think, I think I can very safely prevent Trick Room from getting up. But the problem is that um, that might end up biting me in the ass in in an end game where I have like Torkoal left and he brings out like Gastrodon or something. And like a lot of this game, a lot of this game is sort of confirming calcs and speed interactions and things like that. And um it's going to be pretty easy to demonstrably show Torkoal as a very slow Pokemon. Like I'm not running fast speed Torkoal. It's not going to be outspeeding anything surprising. So if I can just deter him from setting up Trick Room, uh, then I can really surprise him in the end by outspeeding the Gastrodon in the Trick Room. But I just have to make sure the positioning is going to be right. And I think the reason that this is going to work really well is because Gastrodon is paired next to Vileplume, and Vileplume should be able to one-shot a Gastrodon with Giga Drain. And so let's say I go into game one and that end game happens, and Torkoal kills a lot of stuff, but let's say Gastrodon is left next to Vileplume. I could still protect the Torkoal, Giga Drain the Gastrodon, and then um and then he won't even learn in like game one that Torkoal is faster or something like that. And so those are the key speed interactions that I want to um that that's probably going to be like the sauciest thing I do in terms of EVs. Other than that, I think that everything is going to be essentially like a 252, 252, something along those lines. Um, just to keep it simple. Okay, let's get into the damage calcs. I want to make sure. Okay, yeah, let's get into these damage calcs. I just want to show a couple of calcs. Nothing too fancy. Just so you guys see where I'm coming from with item choices and move choices and stuff like that in terms of, this is what should happen. So basically what I've done is I have for some of the bulkiest mons on the Sylveons, I've sort of put together three versions of them. One version where they are max HP, max defense. One version where they are max HP, max special defense. And then one version where they are 252 HP and just either four defense or four special defense with a positive nature for that defensive stat. So, for example, uh, I don't know why anyone would ever do this, but like uh 252 HP, 252 attack, four defense, bold, or something like that. And the reason I did that is because I want to cover for like let's say Alec wants to super invest on the special side, right? With 252 HP and 252 special defense, then you might put like four into defense because you don't want to put it into speed. You're a trick room player, and so you just put four stats into the other defensive stat. So those are the kind of the three versions I'm doing. I'll just call them max defense, max special defense, and max HP with no defenses invested. And so for eruption, for example, um, if you have Terrifier plus Charcoal plus Sun plus Helping Hand, eruption is killing um every version of Corviknight, every version of Rillaboom, um, the completely defensive Farigiraf, the the HP Farigiraf, the uh defensive Clefable, um, with a strong chance of killing the HP bold Clefable with four. Um, and the rest are two hit KOs for these full bulk mons. That just shows you how bulky these mons are. Oh my goodness gracious. Like everything on his team is so goddamn bulky. Also, yeah, I know that I put Assault Vest on Rillaboom and Tyranitar just in case. Um, just because I'm like trying to calc for the worst possible case. But like, man, like uh it's it is when I saw this calc, this is what really worried me about that Corviknight Clefable lead because you could just if you have 252 HP Clefable, careful. Um Essentially you have more than a 50% chance of living an eruption outright. So that's like not full bulk invested. You Terra Fire or Terra Dragon your Corviknight, and let's say you're like the special defensive Corviknight, that means you're taking, let's say, so this is super effective, and it's doing 150% HP. If it was neutral, it'd be 75, and then if it was not very effective, you're taking only what like 37% HP. Clefable survives comfortably after the follow you. You get your tailwind up, and then what? Now I have to deal with a Corviknight that can bulk up, roost, can just sit in front of another eruption without doing anything. Um, and so this is what really worried me about this tailwind, seeing this calc. So yeah, that's with Charcoal and Sun, uh, and helping. Wait, did I Charcoal? This is actually not with Helping Hand. I don't know why I put Helping Hand in here. This is just with Charcoal and the Sun, so that's an error. It's Terrifier, Charcoal plus Sun. Is this calc? So that's crazy. Um, However, something that's a little spicier is that Terra fighting, choice band, helping and close combat basically one shots everything. Basically just one shots everything. Um it yeah, some versions of Pokemon, it will even one shot if like if you have the special defensive Gastrodon, you still one shot if you can Terra Poison, still one shot. If you have a the special defensive Farigiraf, and you Terra Fairy, that's still a roll. That's a still, it's like doing between 95% and 112% damage at Terra Fairy. And the full HP Farigiraf as well. There's like a pretty good chance that full HP Farigiraf dies even after Terra Poison or Terra. Okay, so here's the thing about what Terras I expect. Like Fairy tends to be the stock standard Terra for both Farigiraf and Tyranitar, but I'm kind of actually expecting a Terra Fire just because I think that um well, I'm expecting a Terra Fire on at least one of them just because it it resists eruption. So yeah, so like for these calcs right here, I like you can have just the specially defensive Vergraph is going to survive eruption guaranteed 74.8% to 88.1% without Terra, right? So like what you keep he's probably thinking I don't even need to Terra the Vergraph like into something that resists a fire. But like if you take into account that and you take into account Icicle Spear from Baxcalibur, I really think that Terra Fire would be super strong. Just because also like, I know it might be a little bit weird to Terra Fire if you're expecting something like Crocodile, but um, I'm not gonna bring Crocodile. It's just way too obvious to bring, and I feel like Alec is such a good um yeah, Alec is really smart. Like I think he's gonna know that I'm not gonna bring Crocodile because like I'm just not gonna bring Intimidate into like Defiant and Mirror Armor and a potential clear amulet and a um you know it's not like Crocodile's like one-shotting them anyway. So it's like he's gonna know I'm not gonna bring it. And so he might just choose Terra Fire, calling out the fact that I'm not gonna have rock or ground damage. Probably not going to bring water damage because that's like non-synergistic with sun. And he might just choose Terra Fire. And so if he chooses Terra Fire, um, it resists eruption and uh, Icicle Spear, but it does not resist close combat. And guys, I'm telling you, if he does not have something, if for Rigrass specifically, if a Rigraff doesn't have a Terra that resists close combat, I literally think there's nothing that Alec can do if he leans into the Trick Room mode. Like if he doesn't go Corviknight and Clefable, because let's be honest, like I'm very worried about Corviknight and Clefable, but that's like not an obvious lead. It's not an obvious lead, and it's super risky because like if I just like bring Yen Mega and match Tailwind, then it's like what did he do that for, right? But like then again, like Alec is really smart, so he's probably gonna. I feel like the reason why I think it's warranted to be surprised, but I think it's warranted to be worried about the possibility of Tailwind because bringing Yen Mega against Tyranitar is trolling. Like I'm not gonna have Yen Nega be my Terra Sync. It's not gonna be. I'm not running Focus Sash against Sand. Alec is gonna know that, and he's gonna know that I'm not gonna bring Yen Nega. And so that might incentivize him to bring Tailwind even more. Right. And so maybe I'm just reading way too into this. Like I'm kind of going off the rails, but it reminds me of my match with Matt or the Latchkey kids, where they had Annihilate Whimsicott. So like the beat up strats were super obvious. Um, and they're super obvious, but like still not, it's not like that easy to stop the Annihilate Whimsicott combination because they could just do anything. Like you protect, protect moon, protect attack, bait out something from me on like there's so many things that they can do, but like one of the things that's pretty good into to that is Yanmega's hypnosis, right? And so it's like I have gravity hypnosis. Um, if I just protect after speed boost, I will be faster than Annihilate even with Tailwind. Um, and then I could just gravity hypnosis, and then actually I don't know if I'll be well if he's max speed I won't be, but I could just not attack the Annihilate. It doesn't get Rage Fist. Drain Punch or Rage Fist is not going to kill Yanmega. I can basically guarantee I get off a Hypnosis, but then Annihilate gets Vital Spirit. And so it's like, I wanted to bring Crocodile because I thought that I wanted to bring Crocodile because I thought that me having the threat of Hypnosis was so obvious that I would. It was so obvious to not have Defiant because I would not want to lead Crocodile and activate Defiant. And Hypnosis is so good into Annihilate if it doesn't have Vital Spirit that I was like, okay, Matt is going to see this. And then he's just going to go Define anyway and know that I'm not going to do the hypnosis stuff. And then if I do something like an Electro Web or like some shit, I'll get, you know what I mean? So it's like, since everybody is so good in this league, I think like some of the really obvious, it's really sometimes you don't want to do the super obvious thing because it's so obvious that they are going to react to it. And um, so that's why I'm like, like Terra, maybe he doesn't Terra Fairy or Terra Poison or Terra Ghost to resist or what am I saying? Maybe Ferrograph doesn't Terra Fairy, maybe it Terra Fires, and then it's GG because if it Terra Fires, look at these numbers. I mean, Terra Fighting, Choice Band, Helping Hand to the bulkiest Ferrograph, the full defensive Ferrograph is doing a minimum of 129.5% in the bottom left corner. That's minimum for full bulk. You think he's going to go full bulk defensive when I have Torkoal? Because if he doesn't invest into special defense, like there's the full special defensive one still takes 74.8%. The full HP one dies to eruption. You think he's not going to have some special defense? There's no way he's going to be full 252, 252 HP defense. And that is 129.5%, which means even without Terra, Helping Hand, Close Combat, Choice Band is probably going to kill Ferrograph with close combat. And Ferrograph almost never runs Protect. And it's like a very strong chance to lead it because there's no way he leads Tyranitar because I have the slower Sun. Right? There's no way he leads Tyranitar because I have the slower Sun. So that's like already one Pokemon that's almost guaranteed to come, that's almost guaranteed to not be led. So there's a good chance he leads Ferrograph, and if he doesn't have the right Terra, that's just game. Because Mian Shao is the GOAT and does so much damage, like so much damage. I mean, I'm just glazing over Mian Shao right now because this Mon has carried me so much to Reg G. The game I've had games where I've taken straight up Miraidon, fake out with my Incineroar, Terra fighting close combat with Miraidon, dead, done, dead, just dead, done. Then the Whimsicott moon blasts me or whatever. I go down to my I go down to my sash. That's it. I switch out into another support, have another terrifying close combat for like an end game. Like it's so strong. Anyway, uh knockoff. Manchow's knockoff will kill any version of Farigiraf with just helping hand. And it's likely to kill the special defensive and the HP one without helping hand, actually. 140% minimum damage. Um, to the HP one, which is pretty cool. So knockoff is pretty amazing. And then my favorite calc, U-turn. Choice band helping hand U-turn. Guaranteed to kill two versions of that photograph. That's a line right there. Like I'm not like it would the smartest thing for me to do, like literally the smartest thing for me to do if he leads for a graph would be to helping hand U-turn. Because well, I don't actually know if it's the smartest thing for me to do because he should know that I'm choice banded if that kills. But then if it doesn't kill, then I'll know exactly what kind of photograph it is and know that I'm safe to click eruption and guarantee to kill the photograph. And so that's how like the combination of having such a strong special attacker and having such a strong physical attacker and forcing Alec to have to choose which defensive stat to invest more in is going to work in my favor. Because I not only do I have like this burst damage sandwich of like eruption overheat on one side, and then I have something like a +2 icicle spear or like a terrifying close combat on the other side, either or with helping hand, and those mons speed sandwich his team. So I have like Torgal on the slower end, and I have like Mian Chao and Bax Caliber on the faster end. It's gonna be very hard. It's like the ball is in Alex court to figure out the EVs in order to navigate both the damage type and the speed sandwiches. Icicle spear. So one caveat here is all of these calcs I only show 4 hit. If anybody saw my match against John Wood, I lost game one to a icicle spear that hit 4 times instead of 5 times, and that's my fault. That's my fault for even expecting that I would get a roll that's not the min roll. You should always expect that you're going to get the very min roll with the very min, number of multi hits. And you should expect your 95% moves to hit 50% of the time. And so all the calcs are going to be based on this 4-hit icicle spear. So the first one is the +2. I'm not even going to bother with the non +2 calc because that doesn't kill anything. I mean, it kills Rillaboom, but like it doesn't kill anything other than that. You get to +4. Now we're talking. +4 icicle spear kills literally everything. Literally everything. Every version of every mon dies from +4 icicle spear. Bax Caliber is so goddamn strong. This is a very clear win condition, like very clear. What I like about this is that let's say I'm playing a game where I'm supporting Bax Caliber with a combination of Electivire and Sableye, right? Like, let's say, I lead Electivire and Bax Caliber. Turn one, I sword dance, follow me. Let's say he gets his trick room up or what, like, whatever. He gets his like speed control up, blah, 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 blah. Um, turn two, let's say I can fake out, or sorry, turn two, I can protect Volt Switch. You know, if Electivire dies, whatever. If it is able to get off a slow Volt Switch into Sableye, great. Turn three, if I choose to have fake out on the Sableye, which I'm almost certainly not going to have it for reasons said earlier, I can get my damage mitigation off by a combination of Reflect, because he's most likely might have like a Tyranitar at that point. So let's say I get my Reflect off. Baxcalibur survives a hit between like, let's say, Reflect and my defensive Terra, right? Trick, that's already 2 turns of Trick Room. Uh, yeah, the next turn, protect again, switch it back out into Electivire or whatever. Or I can even switch out into Vileplume and have that room service and actually just be slower because sand will be up. So I could actually just be slower. Right? There's like a lot of like if I get to +4, there's a lot of things I could do here. He basically has to bank on being able to he has to be able to two-shot the Baxcalibur after a defensive Terra. And it's not going to be that easy. Baxcalibur is quite bulky. Um, so this is a calc that I absolutely love. And then my second favorite calc after that U-turn one is the fact that, so I'm strongly considering doing Terra Ice on Baxcalibur because +4 Terra Ice through screens still kills everybody. Except for the full defensive Corviknight and the full 252 HP, 252 defense Tyranitar. What do you think the chances are of that Tyranitar set? I think very unlikely. The Corviknight, maybe. But still more than a 50% chance to Oko. And remember, this is with 4 hits of Icicle Spear. So that's crazy. No helping hand, just Terra Ice through screens. Insane. Insane. So oh, and then the last one is just let's say I need to press my go button right away. So this is that concept of, you know, just do my thing and go. Terra Ice, Icicle Spear, 4 hit plus Helping Hand actually does a significant amount of damage with 4 hits. With 5 hits, there's actually a pretty good chance I kill anything. Truly. Like this is close. Uh like if with 5 hits, I'm killing everything that's again not that like Corviknight or Tyranitar full bulk. That's pretty crazy. So yeah, it's cool. Okay. One of my least favorite calcs. Another reason why I think I'm not gonna bring this crocodile is this shit does no damage. Like +2 Terra Ground high horsepower. Like you need all of those modifications to guarantee. Well, you can't even guarantee the kill on all of the Clefables and all of the Farigirafs. And obviously you don't hit Corviknight. There's like nothing you can like you there's nothing Crocodile can do, absolutely nothing to one-shot Corviknight. Right out the gate. There's nothing. Terra Ground, Choice Band, Terra Fire, or whatever. Like there's nothing it can do to it can defensive Terra, but like nothing it can do to one shot Corviknight. Nothing it can do basically to one shot. And right, and it's like you need +2 just to have these pitiful calcs. Sorry, my Netflix just turned on. Um, so that's a no-go. Pretty disappointing damage from your boy Crocodile, which I know I'm shitting on Crocodile right now, but it is one of the goats of the Goodras. We're ruffling with the old man. Crocodile has carried me through the middle of this season. I just do not think this is the matchup for it. Um, I considered maybe, oh, maybe I go for like an Earthquake Yen Mega combination. Rillaboom. Sorry, you do no damage with Earthquake. So, all right. So that was a little fun. I'm not gonna go into every single damage calc that I pulled up. I'm talking about like the time I've spent talking about it's probably more time than I actually spent looking at these calcs, to be honest. But just to like give like a rough thing of like some of the other calcs that I've looked at and some of the decisions I've made. I considered I'm really worried about Clefable's ability to just follow me and set something up. So I'm like, is there any spread move that I can use that's not that Earthquake from Crocodile? Because it doesn't guarantee stuff. It has to be +2. You can't get to +2 right away. Um, and even if you did, what like he learns that whatever. It's so much commitment to potentially fail to protect. If I wanted to get +2, let's say if I wanted to like use a weakness policy strat or something. Um, Greninja's kind of in the same boat. This calc I'm showing in the bottom right here, that's choice specs, Terra Poison, um, Sludge Wave. I believe with Helping Hand as well. It might not be Helping Hand. I think it might be Helping Hand though. You cannot guarantee kill all Clefables. And I know you guarantee kill most Clefables, but you can't guarantee kill all Clefables, and that's not good enough for me. Because I'm gonna click this move. I'm gonna kill my own Pokemon just to get that, 18.7% chance that it doesn't kill the Clefable. So why did I do that anyway? And if it's next to Corviknight, then like, which is the thing I'm the most worried about is the Clefable Corviknight getting caught off guard by that. Then Sludge Wave doesn't even hit the Clefable. So yeah, that's really so I'm not bringing Greninja for that and many other reasons. Some of the calcs I looked into, so I wanted to make sure Giga Drain could kill Gastrodon, Pollen Puff can kill Malamar. I looked into Bug Buzz calcs on the fur graph. I even looked into Struggle Bug calcs. So like, is it possible to get a Struggle Bug to kill the fur graph? It's pretty much not. The knockoff on Lampent was a big one. I just wanted to make sure that two it KOs because I'm almost certainly going knockoff and not foul play if I bring Sableye. Oh, and then low kick. Wanted to make sure that is able to secure a knockout onto Tyranitar. And so those are just a couple of the key calcs that I was looking at. So here I've kind of made uh this little what do you call it? Sort of like a it's like the Mendel diagram, the genetics crossing diagram of Pokemon leads, outlining some of the ways that the Sylveons could set up their board state to potentially sweep me and end my season. Fake out Trick Room, fake out Tailwind, follow me Trick Room, follow me Tailwind, screens Trick Room. That's a lead that if I get caught off by two, I could be screwed. I don't think he's gonna lead that because it still doesn't do very well into just straight up after you eruption. But he could always switch in Tyranitar, and then after you eruption, he sets up light screen. I mean, he calcs so that eruption doesn't kill Klefki even in after whatever. It's way too obvious um of a play. And I have other leads that can kind of deal with that. Tailwind fake out, Tailwind follow me, Tailwind screens. Um, so um, so yeah, these are some possible answers to some of these leads. I'm not gonna like go over some of these lines because I just I don't think these exact leads are very likely, to be honest. Some of them are so obvious and they if I get caught off, if I get caught out leading something that's not robust to another lead, of course I can get screwed by like the random follow me Trick Room, follow me Tailwind, but that's probably not going to happen. Alex probably not going to lead something that just loses on turn one, because that's him right there. That's the coach of the Sassy Sylveons. They ain't gonna just get he ain't just gonna die on turn one. And even if he does in a game one, it ain't happening in a game two. So so I don't expect like some like the Trick Room Follow Me. I don't really expect. I don't expect the leads that just like outright lose to um like after you eruption, right? Or like, just outright lose to um Follow Me Swords Dance. Like I expect sort of like neutral lead. Like, maybe he leads like something like Trick Room, like Farigiraf and something that does damage. Or like Corviknight and something that does damage. Or he does lead like Farigiraf plus Klefki. But like, you know, he plays it in a way that's like, he's trained specifically to handle that lead. Right. So yeah, it's gonna be quite interesting. So now, with all that said, finally we're gonna get to what am I going to bring? This is what I am planning to bring today. So let's see, today is August. Oh my God, what happens to my calendar? August 19th. What am I planning to bring? So this is the six that I'm almost certainly going to bring. And these are the sets. Um, and some of these might contradict. There are a couple things here that I really, really think that I might change or I might regret. And here they are. So let's start with the left side. So I don't know if Alex is going to bring Malamar. And so I don't know if Pollen Puff is going to be necessary. Pollen Puff could actually be pretty cute to, heal Baxcalibur or even Torkoal. Let's say they get some Grassy Glide chip off or something, and I would just want to heal the Torkoal, be cute. There's like some cute things I can do with Pollen Puff, but I might really regret not having that poison damage just because I do expect a lot of Terra Fairies. Um, or protect just to kind of like stall out weather, so let something faint for Torkoal to come in, because that could actually be a problem. Probably what's going to end up happening is I'm going to lead something offensive in the front. Um, try to trade positively for damage. A Pokemon dies, or I have to hard switch out a Pokemon. That Pokemon that's going to come in is probably going to be Vileplume, right? And this Vileplume is very bulky. Like the Vileplume is taking any. There's no one attack that's killing this Vileplume. It's going to be able to live Psychic from Farigiraf for sure. And it's going to have that Terra Dark as the insurance policy. It's going to be super specially bulky, and it's just bulky all around, and just enough special attack to one shot the Gastrodon. And as of now, the Vileplume or the Malamar, but yeah, I don't know if the Pollen Puff is going to be worth it. I, I might I might not. The manual Sunny Day might be very important. So that's another thing that I, maybe regret, but probably not. We'll see. For Torkoal, this Torkoal is triple fire damage, and maybe it'd be better to get something like a Solar Beam or a Earth Power instead of triple fire. I obviously, I don't. Everyone watching this plays Pokemon. Everyone knows what these moves are for. Eruption is the big damage. Overheat in case I take chip. Weather Ball is nice because it's pretty robust in case they change the weather. And it's very reliable single target damage, 100 base power, still doing a lot of damage with Charcoal, Terrafire, and Sun. It's one-shotting a lot of Pokemon. I didn't show those, but it is. Um, but yeah, just because I'm because I suspect that I might see a Terrafire, it would be really annoying to see a Terrafire and then like eruption on that turn or whatever. But that's also why I think like Weather Ball's pretty good. So, because it's like a double-edged sword. It's like I think Weather Ball is going to be good because like if they change the weather, then Weather Ball could be good into the Terrafires. But if the weather is not changed and I'm stuck with something that Terra fire or fires, or like let's say I'm stuck against like, or not Terra fires, if I'm stuck against like Gastrodon, right? Uh, then I'm gonna wish I had another attack. Sableye, um, this Sableye, honestly, Terra Fairy is kind of that Terra that I do where I'm like a little bit. It's like I'm a little bit scared of like I just want to have a. It's kind of like my default Terra. Um, if I'm going a defensive Terra, probably it should be poison. Um, but I'm actually, yeah, it probably should be poison if I'm going a defensive Terra. But I'm a little bit worried about uh like earthquake, and then like again I know Farragraph is gonna have psychic, so but then that's the other thing, like it could have dazzling gleam and um Terra Fairy, like it's still gonna take kind of a lot of damage from Terra Fairy dazzling gleam, Terra Fairy moonblast, um even if I like from Clefable, even if I Terra poison or Terra Fairy, so Terra poison might be a little bit smarter, but we'll see. um Also debated putting Brick Break over Taunt, but I actually think that's kind of stupid because if a screen goes up, I'm not gonna the lines get a I'm not brick breaking after the fact that it's gonna either screen goes up and I deal with it, or I prevent screen because Photograph is not positioned next to Klefki. Uh, I really think that I might regret Terra not choosing Terra Ice. We saw those damage calcs. Terra Ice is so good for Caliber, and it still gets rid of the fair. It still gets rid of the fairy weakness. Like it gets rid of the weakness to Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam. Um, I don't suspect any. There's not going to be any dragon moves, um, but I am expecting maybe poison moves, right? Like because Terra Fairy is such a common defensive type, um, people tend to carry poison moves, right? So it's like affects caliber, or like the random Terra poison is something that I think is more likely um than not, and so yeah, so I might regret this Terra Ice. Um, Terra Fairy is a little bit safer though because obviously um you cannot you I can't guarantee survive against a Tyranitar um you know rock slide. I literally think I can't guarantee it. Like if he wants to go something crazy like Terra Rock, Choice Band, Rock Slide, right? Like if I'm an ice type, I just die. So I think if I have to play a game where I'm if I have to play a game around Max Caliber, then it's probably better for it to have a defensive Terra. Now, I did consider Poison, but then again, Psychic from Farigiraf and then Earthquake from Tyranitar is something that I'm worried about. Um, so we are going to stick with Fairy. Electivire, Terra Grass. The only other thing I really considered is Terra Bug. Considered Terra Bug. But I decided to go with Terra Grass because I don't want to be weak to Rock Slide. And then Mian Shao is perfect. Mian Shao is perfect. No notes for Mian Shao. I love how much damage it does. I love its coverage. It's the only mon that I think is perfect. So with that said, I think that's it. That was kind of long actually. But this is what I got, and I have to drive back to Massachusetts tomorrow. So I drive back to Massachusetts tomorrow, and then I will play my set with Alec when I get back. So probably a very low chance that I change this. And but if I do, I'm not re-recording this because I record on Zoom with no edits. So thanks everybody for sticking in there. I have no idea how long this was. But yeah, free content and wish me luck. Very looking forward to my match, but also super nervous because, you know, uh, Alec is a smart player. He's a very sharp player. Like he clicks moves that make sense. He brings Pokemon that make sense. He chooses EVs that make sense. Like it's not